And in this edition of Super 6, we're talking about the same old story that emerges every other week from Bengaluru, about the crumbling roads, the clogged drains, the infrastructure mess in the city. And yet nothing's done to address it. In the latest wake-up call for authorities, you've got a co-founder of a company called Black Buck saying enough is enough. We've called our office our home in Bengaluru's Bellandur for the last 9 years, but we're packing up now, saying it's impossible, that it's an infrastructural mess in this particular area. And anyone who's been to Bengaluru, if you are a Bengalurian, you know what we're talking about when we say Bellandur is an absolute nightmare to go through. So this company has said we're packing up our bags from that particular locality. Now, this should serve as a wake-up call for the administration, not just this, because while Bengaluru is struggling right now, there are others who see opportunity in it. Andhra Pradesh, for example, Nara Lokesh has already put out a post inviting this company over to Andhra Pradesh, referring to Vizag, referring to its beautiful infrastructure, saying we've got plenty of opportunities there. Go ahead and switch over to Andhra Pradesh. And that's why, perhaps for the Karnataka government, this is an SOS that they need to crack down upon to fix their infrastructure, to ensure that the shine of Bengaluru, which is the fact that, they're an IT hub, they've got all of these startups, all of that doesn't leave the city.
It's Andhra Pradesh versus Karnataka, the high-stakes battle for business and investments. And the fallout could reshape the economic landscape of southern India. Bengaluru's crumbling infrastructure, broken roads, potholes, clogged drains are no longer just civic nightmares. They are now a full-blown business crisis. Digital trucking giant Black Buck has announced plans to vacate its office in Bengaluru's Bellandur, citing pothole roads, traffic mess, and poor infrastructure. The company stresses it's not leaving Bengaluru entirely, but this move sends a strong warning to the Karnataka government.
There are huge potholes, and this is the kind of infrastructure the people get. And that is one of the reasons that Black Buck company, which is planning to move out of Bellandur area, they will be moving out of Bellandur, but they will not be moving out of Bengaluru. But they are looking out for an alternative place in and around Bellandur. No matter which party comes to power, the IT companies in the outer ring road are suffering every single day.
While the Siddaramaiah Sarkara played down the impact, the BJP has slammed the Siddaramaiah government for driving away business and pushing the state into decline.
Bengaluru is a global city. 50% are the local people. 50% of the people, our children from various states, come here for work and study. And expats and other people to work in the companies. So these are this one. And our Deputy Chief Minister is already in this one. He has made a statement and we are going to address it.
I think it is high time for the ruling party to see that for employment generation, for the development of our country, all these development activities should be given priority and they should take care.
Meanwhile, across the border, Andhra Pradesh is ready to capitalize on Karnataka's missteps. Just hours after Black Buck announced his exit from Bellandur due to poor infrastructure, Andhra Minister Nara Lokesh took to X with a bold invitation, asking the logistics company to shift base to Andhra Pradesh, promising better infrastructure and safer cities.
Same thing with a company who shall not be, name cannot be disclosed by me officially. They're going to build one of India's largest data center in Visakhapatnam. It's going to be a 1 gigawatt data center. We started from ground up. That conversation, I think, happened around August, where I drove them personally, showed them the land, and got them excited about Visakhapatnam.
And this isn't the first time Andhra has seized such an opportunity. Back in July, when Karnataka failed to give land for industrial use, Andhra had made a similar pitch to poach business away from the state. Will Karnataka fix its crumbling infrastructure in time? Or will Andhra Pradesh steal the show, quite literally? With Sagai Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
every single time. This is what we're talking about in Bengaluru. It's a great city. I've lived in Bengaluru. I love Bengaluru, but let's face it, everyone who's been in the city knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the infrastructure is an absolute mess. I'd like to bring in right now a Bengalurian, someone who's also a brand expert, so we'll tell you more about what really this means for the city. We've got Harish Bijur. We've also got Mohandas Pai. So two prominent Bengalurians to tell you about what they think about the current situation right now. Mr. Harish Bijura, I'd like to begin with you on what really this kind of news, this kind of posts being put out by Bengalurians actually does to brand Bengaluru, which is so important for the city's growth, for it to scale up.
Okay. See, firstly, a black buck actually flees Bellandur, but doesn't flee Bengaluru as yet. So I think they're relocating. But what do these things do to the image of a city? Actually, they create scars because, you know, the startup folk who inhabit this city, who populate this city, who bring businesses into the city and bring money into the city, tend to create the imagery for the city as well. And bulk of them, if they do stand up and say that I've had enough and enough is enough, I think, you know, that's going to create a ruckus on the image of Bengaluru.
Mr. Mohandas Pai, what do you think? You know, this company Blackbuck announcing that they're having to move out of Bellandur simply because of the bad infrastructure, the crazy traffic. They're saying we're looking for now a different location. How do you see that, and the fact that you've got other states now stepping up and saying, look, what about us?
No, this is a disaster in the making, and this is happening all the time. For the last 2.5 years, we've been talking about the ORR being in bad shape. There are a lot of potholes. The metro is behind schedule. Nobody knows what date will come. They're giving dates after date after dates. They're changing CEOs like they change their clothes. Bangalore has become a disaster with our CM not paying attention to Bangalore. Our deputy CM keeps making promises. He comes there, visits, he makes promises. He tweets and says, I'll fix 5,000 potholes, 10,000 potholes. But potholes don't disappear. And I think it's a disaster in the making. You go to the road, people are spending 1.5 to 2 hours sitting down in the traffic because of bad management, potholes, bad roads. That road has 800,000 people working, 93 million square feet of campus space. I don't think any road in India has 93 million square feet of campus space. And all those people who own those campus spaces, the REITs, like Manyata and my friend Jitu Virmani, they're twiddling their thumbs. They should come and talk to government and put pressure to do up the road. Naresh Venkatraman, the very famous architect, had designed the entire road, what has to be done, what are the repairs, he spent money. And R.K. Mishra, and he have given the proposal to the Deputy Chief Minister, has gone to somebody called Smart Bangalore or some other thing with the setup separately. I don't know whether tenders have been issued. People are losing hope. And here we have promises, multiple promises, but things do not change. I would urge the Deputy Chief Minister to call a meeting of everybody there and ask the new commissioner of that area to take personal responsibility and give an action plan for the next 2 weeks and make sure that every week he reports back to people and executes. Now, fortunately, we have a 5 corporation for the city of Bangalore. There's been great urban reforms, and I'm sure that commissioner of that area will pay attention because it's the most important road in that particular area.
No, so, you know, we have to admit there are challenges too. Mr. Bijur, I've been in Bengaluru, so I know, of course, that the city is overcrowded, it's overpopulated, it's bursting at the seams. That's evident. But how do we really make the infrastructure work for the city? We have to acknowledge that there is a problem of overpopulation, address it, figure out the infrastructure. Is that possible?
Okay, see, firstly, the big issue is the fact that we are overpopulated. Okay, this is a city which can take just about, let's say, 80 lakh people. And we are talking about 165 lakh people out here. Add another 20 lakh of people who come in and go out of the city every day. That's 185 lakh people. This city is not built for it. This city is congested today. Our roads can't take all of this traffic. And everybody has a yen to buy more and buy more because we're a prosperous city. And therefore, more cars, more bikes, more buses, everything come on the roads. And I think that is the big issue. Well, the second point is that can we sort this out? Yes, we can sort it out. But it's an attitudinal thing. There are 2 attitudes which are important here. One is the attitude of governance. The governments that govern us must have the correct attitude to say, we want to sort this out. And I think that can be done. we can set up a brand Bengaluru war room, and you can actually run a program which is managed on a war footing. But that requires certain commitments. One of the commitments is in terms of policing. We need to have zero tolerance policing, in the sense that the city has people who actually drive on the footpaths, the people drive in the opposite direction, etc., etc. But then that soft policing is affecting it. I think we have soft policing in the city. We don't have zero tolerance policing. So stuff like that. This is just one of it. There are 11 other aspects. We don't have the time to go through each one of that on your program. But
Correct.
if committed, we can go behind it
agree.
and do it.
I
But
agree.
if not committed, I think important thing is we need to decongest Bangalore.
No, I agree. What you've highlighted is one of many issues. But there is a possibility. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I think here it's all about political will. And if that comes through, maybe we can at least see the inner parts of Bengaluru transform. Look at basic infrastructure of good roads. Even that's not taken care of. But gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. We're cutting across to breaking news that's coming in right now. Let's go across to that. And it looks like Pakistan is all set to pull out of Asia Cup 2025. Reports suggesting that today's match, which was slated to take place between Pakistan and the UAE, will not be happening. The Pakistan Cricket Board will be holding a press conference shortly. The Pakistan team has been told not to turn up at the stadium. They're reportedly going to stay in their hotel. Those are images on the left of your screens that show the bus waiting, but they haven't moved from the hotel. And why? Because remember of the handshake that didn't happen between India and Pakistan. So PCB is still crying over that. They're still sulking over the fact that their handshake didn't happen and there was no action taken against the match referee, Andy Pycroft. Now it turns out that it was the same referee for the Pakistan versus UAE match, which is why this action now is being taken by Pakistan, by the PCB, where they've decided they're not going to be a part of today's match. There's a possibility they'll pull out of the Asia Cup as well. Nikhil Naz is joining us with more details on this. Nikhil, Pakistan sulking over no handshake, so much so that they could just pull out of the Asia Cup. We understand they're not going to be a part of today's match.
That's right, Akshita, and that's the big breaking news at the moment. Now, remember, we are less than 2 hours to go for that first ball to be bowled in the game between UAE and Pakistan. And typically, international team leaves for the ground about 2.5 hours before the game is to start. They reach well in advance, about 1.5 hours before the games to start, do their warm-ups. And the Pakistan team bus, I've been tracking them, has been parked outside their team hotel for the last 3 hours.
Yeah,
Ideally, they should have left about 45 minutes ago if they were going according to the norm as we've seen most teams do it. They should have left 45 minutes ago. They have not. What the latest development is that the team bus was earlier parked in a position where the players could have gotten in and left. Now it's been parked on the side of that hotel, which means to say that they have kind of been told that the team is not leaving at the moment. What I'm picking up right now from my sources is that the players till this morning were told by the Pakistan Cricket Board that be on standby, we are playing this game. However, when the bus arrived, they were told that wait, we'll give you a green signal and then you get inside the bus. The entire kit bags of the team was brought down, that was put inside the bus, and the bus was ready to leave as is the norm. But it's been more than 45 minutes. They've not left. The bus now has been parked on the side, which is a signal that they might not be leaving. What I'm also getting to hear is that there might be a press conference by Mohsin Naqvi, who's also the Interior Minister of Pakistan. He's also the head of the PCB, and that press conference will take place in Pakistan. That is when we'll get to know what has happened. But let me give you a bit of a background. For the last 2-3 hours or so, there's been hectic negotiations on between the ICC, the Asian Cricket Council and the PCB. The demand that PCB had, as we had mentioned earlier as well, that remove Andy Pycroft, the match referee, because he failed to do his duty, one, of not informing the Pakistan team well in advance that there will be no handshake at the toss. That's their first grievance. And the second is that when the Indian captain in Suryakumar Yadav came for the post-match press conference, he made two political references. One, dedicating the win to the Indian Army, and then when he went for another press conference after that, which was an official press conference, he made a reference to Operation Sindoor and said that we dedicate our win to the Indian Armed Forces for the successful completion of Operation Sindoor. Now, technically, ICC does not allow any political references to be made in any platform that is an official platform. What PCB is saying that based on this, based on the rule book, the match referee is the one who's supposed to take action, and he failed to do that. So what they're demanding at the moment is first an action be taken against the Indian captain for flouting the rules, and secondly, they're demanding an apology of Andy Pycroft. I'm also learning that there was a compromise formula that was arrived at where the ICC had turned down the demand of removing Andy Pycroft as match referee for the tournament. However, what they were ready to do was that for this particular game, UAE-Pakistan game, they were going to have a different match referee in Richie Richardson. Remember, there are two match referees in each tournament, and it's not unusual to shuffle the match referees. So they said, okay, maybe Andy Pycroft was a match referee here. That's fine, we can shuffle it. The other match referee can take over. But that is something that the Pakistan Cricket Board was not happy with. They also demanded an apology and asked for some action to be taken against Suryakumar Yadav based on the ICC rule book.
Well, that's simply bizarre because, you've got a compromise formula that's been reached. You'd think Pakistan would grab that, considering the demands they put forth. And let's be very clear here, Nikhil, that if Pakistan takes this kind of a stand, all which was triggered by a no handshake, essentially, if they take the stand, they're the ones who lose the most by not being a part of the Asia Cup.
Well, that's right. There's a lot for Pakistan to lose at the moment, Akshita. I'll give you a couple of instances. I spoke to some people that are associated with the PCB, and on a condition of anonymity, even they feel that at the moment, Pakistan has tried to, really push the ICC. They're trying to get more than what they bargained for. The best solution for them would have been, if they're ready to shuffle the match referee, go ahead and play that game. So that's the first thing that they could have done. That's the first bit. And secondly, now you're talking about what is it that Pakistan can lose? Multiple things. The first thing that they can lose is a lot of revenue. Now, Pakistan stand to gain about somewhere close to $17 million from the Asian Cricket Council kitty, which will be about anywhere between 8 to 10% of their yearly revenue. So they stand to lose that. But most importantly, even more than that, they now stand to be sanctioned if you pull out of a tournament. Yes, you can have a grievance, you can have an issue with anything, but you have to wait and you have to continue those negotiations with the governing body. Any team that pulls out arbitrarily, as Pakistan is doing at the moment, that could risk sanction, that could even risk isolation going forward for a team like Pakistan. So this could be a misstep taken by the Pakistan Cricket Board. Obviously, that has happened in consultation with the Pakistani government.
Showing on our screens. Nikhil, I'll just request you to stay with me. What we're showing on our screen, so the extreme right there, is the Pakistani cricket team bus, expected to have left from the hotel at least 30 minutes ago. It's still waiting there outside the hotel. Clearly a sense that, the Pakistan team has been told, stay put. You're not moving to the stadium, and that's a clear enough message that right now it doesn't look like they're going to be a part of the UAE match. But is it just one match? Are they boycotting this, or is this the full tournament that they're boycotting? Inevitably, if they skip this particular match, it's endgame for the Pakistan team. So they're essentially signing off their warrant in the Asia Cup, even if they choose to just skip this one match. That's the Pakistan team bus that's waiting there. Doesn't look like anyone's boarding. Seems like at this point, there's no way the match will happen. Rajdeep Sardesai is joining us with his view, his perspective on what's really happening. Rajdeep, what do you make of this? Do you think that they're shooting themselves in the foot? Do you think Pakistan's doing that by deciding not to play this match against UAE and perhaps boycott the Asia Cup?
Well, it's extremely unfortunate, Akshita, if Pakistan decides to boycott the Asia Cup. It sends completely the wrong signals. I do believe that Pakistan overreacted to the issue of match referee. I also believe that Suryakumar Yadav should not have used that platform to be seen to be making political statements. But for Pakistan to make that an issue on which they will boycott the Asia Cup is, I think, a disproportionate reaction, an unfortunate reaction, and a reaction which only will further divide the cricket world and particularly will make it more and more difficult, Akshita, for tournaments to be held in this part of the world with any sense of cordiality, including multilateral tournaments. in a few months from now, the World T20 is to be held in India. Now, while the India-Pakistan match there is to be held on a neutral venue like Colombo, the order of what has happened, if Pakistan chooses to boycott this match, could affect even the World T20 in some way. And let's be clear also, the Asian Cricket Council conference is headed by a Pakistani, Mohsin Naqvi, who's PCB chairman and also the interior minister of Pakistan in the cabinet of Shahbaz Sharif. On the Indian side, you've got Jai Shah, who's the head of the ICC, who's the son of Amit Shah, the home minister. So politics is all over this. This is no longer about cricket, Akshita. Let's get it clear. This is actually, in a way, politics, war minus the shooting, with cricket the unfortunate casualty and cricketers the pawns. Cricketers have been reduced to pawns in a chess game being played by these two countries, and it is extremely unfortunate that Pakistan has chosen to take this decision. Surely this could have been sorted out by Mr. Naqvi and the ICC leadership behind closed doors, but unfortunately, as I said, politics has completely hijacked the sport, and it's a very sad and unfortunate day for cricket and for genuine cricket lovers in both countries.
It's gone well beyond cricket. It's gone well beyond sport. You're right, Rajdeep. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me also bring in Mr. Madan Lal for his view on what's playing out right now in Dubai. With just hours to go for that match, Mr. Madan Lal, doesn't look like it's happening because now Pakistan and the team remains put in that particular hotel. They're not stepping out. The PCB seems to have made it clear that Pakistan will not be participating in that UAE match. What do you think this really means as far as Pakistan's cricketing decision is concerned? What this means in the Asia Cup for them and overall really for cricketing?
I think Pakistan making a big mistake and not playing this game, And I just heard that their bus is still standing, and they have told the PCB people that they're not going to play. But end of the day, who's going to lose it? The Pakistan is going to lose it. It's the best way to forget about all this politics or controversy and go to the ground, try to win the game, and try to play good cricket. So the people remember you. Even back home, leaving the game is not going to solve problem. It's going to create more problems. So they have to think right. Like small thing which they are doing it. It's not right for the sports. They are already not doing anything. They're not playing well, and the cricket is going down the drain. So if they don't play, I think it's their loss. But this is my only advice to them: is go and play, win the game, wait for the next match to come.
My colleague Nikhil is also with us on this broadcast. Nikhil, would you like to also ask a question to Mr. Madan Lal?
Madan sir, firstly, for Pakistan to take this step, what can happen in the future? Can Pakistan stand isolated in world cricket?
Yeah, definitely. I think when if ACC can take action, they're not playing, hijacking the tournament because it's a big tournament in Asia. But if they don't play, they can take action, whatever action they decide, then they will be isolated. But Pakistan doesn't understand. Playing cricket is only going to solve the problem. You will going to lose the money, you're going to lose the cricket, and you're going to lose everything. And you will be isolated. And you're not doing well, for the past couple of seasons, a couple of years. So better to go and play. Let the players play the game. They should be play. And small things, not shaking hand, not boycotting the match, or all these things is irrelevant. I believe in sports.
Madan sir, I wonder whether this you talk about they're not really matching up in terms of performance. I wonder whether this is all strategically planned by Pakistan, because this is one other way of ensuring you don't play against India and get another hammering.
That's Pakistan, the board, PCB is the biggest culprit, How can they guide the players? How can they advise the player not to play? That's, I think that the board is also ruled by the people who doesn't know anything ABC of cricket. Look at for the last so many years, so much controversy against PCB board, And, they're changing the coaches, the selectors and everyone, they're criticizing their own team a lot. But it's not that they're going to improve their own game. the best way, I told you before, that go and play and win the game.
Okay, Mr. Madan Lal, thank you very much for joining us with your view on what's really playing out with regards to Pakistan. They still hold up in their hotel. That's the bus there waiting for them. They didn't turn up, and looks unlikely that they are going to turn up, because we're hearing that there will be an emergency press conference in Pakistan, and it seems the PCB has taken a decision that the team will not be a part of the match against UAE, which is actually slated to happen in just about 90 minutes from now. Nikhil, you know, for the last many days, there's been talk that Pakistan could just go ahead and boycott the Asia Cup. Why has the decision been taken so close to the match with UAE? What really has changed that the PCB has taken this decision now?
That's a very interesting question, Akshita, and I promise I'll offer you a very interesting take on that. I'll tell you what has happened. See, that's because PCB's stance has changed, and I'll give you the reason why that's also happened. Remember, PCB started by having an issue with Andy Pycroft, and that too only on the issue of not letting them know well in advance that a handshake will not happen at the toss. That was their first concern that they raised. They wanted Andy Pycroft out. When they realized that the ICC wasn't budging, and they also realized that ICC was well within their rights not to fire a match referee because he had followed the rules, they probably agreed on a compromise formula, as I just mentioned to you, that they might be able to shuffle the match referee. So PCB thought as soon as the shuffling of the match referee will happen, they will have a face-saving exercise where they can go back and say that, listen, we stood up to India. But what happened in the last 12 odd hours, I'll let you know, is that there was so much pressure from the Pakistan media on the PCB that the Pakistan media pointing out that the PCB has gone for a low-hanging fruit. They were actually criticizing the Pakistan Cricket Board for going for a low-hanging fruit like Andy Pycroft. The Pakistan media questioned PCB saying, listen, if you had an issue, you should be asking for an apology or raise the issue about Suryakumar Yadav bringing in a political issue in an official press conference. Why isn't PCB doing that? And PCB, quite honestly, was avoiding that. It's only after the pressure that they got from their media, which they started highlighting this. I am told that there was a high-level meeting that happened in Pakistan, a political meeting, where even someone like the Prime Minister may have been involved. And remember, the head of PCB is also the Interior Minister, and there were many questions asked from him that why is it that we're looking so weak? Why is it that you've asked for the issue at hand, asked for an apology or some sort of a sanction for the Indian captain? Why are you going after the match referee? That makes Pakistan look very weak. So what has happened in the last few hours, from a situation, as I had reported last night, where PCB had made up their mind that the match will go ahead, the Pakistani players, I can confirm 100%, they were told that you are playing the match. All of that was done. It's only after the pressure from their government on the PCB that, listen, we need to be seen to be acting sternly against what happened, that they started to bargain for a little bit more. There was an emergency meeting with the ICC that happened, and they expected an immediate solution, which ICC was not ready to offer at the moment. Looking at it from Pakistan's point of view, if they had any more issues to deal with, if they had more grievances, they should have waited for that thing to reach its logical conclusion. That may have taken a few days. But what they've done right now, acted in haste, decided to pull out of this particular match, but they do not know the repercussions of that, and that will only take Pakistan cricket further down into the abyss.
You know, there's a clear established procedure to follow. Boycotts do nothing. Let's be very clear. It doesn't, achieve anything whatsoever. And so for Pakistan to do this, they're shooting themselves in the foot. What they're doing is taking themselves steps back as far as their cricketing, as far as their game is concerned, as far as the Pakistan Cricket Board is concerned. So for them to have taken this decision in haste, perhaps under pressure, is absolutely bizarre, because they are the ones who are going to hurt the most with this kind of a decision. And Nikhil, if they choose to sit out this particular game, they're out of the Asia Cup. It's effectively a boycott of the Asia Cup because they stand no chance beyond this.
Let me add on to that, Akshita. Not only are they out of the Asia Cup, whether it is on disciplinary grounds, that's also a valid reason. They will be out of the Asia Cup, of course, because 2 points will be given to UAE. So they anyway cannot qualify for the next round. This would have been their last game. So anyway you look at it, they would have been out of the Asia Cup. This is something that they knew. But more importantly, this is not going to end here. Remember, they've taken on the might of the International Cricket Council. While Asia Cup may just be one tournament that comes under the aegis of the Asian Cricket Council. If they have to be participating internationally, they have to play every tournament that is certified or comes under the umbrella of the International Cricket Council. Right now, they've defied the International Cricket Council, and nothing will stop International Cricket Council to take further steps against Pakistan when it comes to international tournament. If you look at it from India's point of view, Akshita, I'll tell you, two things you need to look at. That is exactly why I was arguing when India was playing Pakistan, and many said that, listen, we should sit this out. I was of the view that why should India isolate themselves because of a rogue country? Why should India sit out and not participate in an international tournament?
And so we went ahead and played. We did the right thing. Pakistan is now boycotting. Nikhil, I'll request you to stay with me because we're also joined by Atul Vasan on the phone line on this. Mr. Atul Vasan, what do you make of this decision taken by Pakistan that they're not going to play tonight's match in all likelihood? They've decided, it seems, to boycott the Asia Cup.
Yeah, I think this was the only way out for them to just, try and, portray that, the higher ground, because they were slighted and there was no way out because they, what they were expecting from ICC or ACC was never going to happen. Nobody can reprimand the other team for not doing something which is a tradition but cannot be enforced. So I think this is the only way they can show that they are miffed. And I think it is...
Mr. Vasan, going by what you're saying, it's a face saver, but with huge implications for Pakistan.
Well, then actually, they don't care now because, they are cornered and they feel that if they don't do this, then everybody will take them lightly. And India, on their part, is entirely entitled to what they did. So I think it's a standoff. And going forward, what they lose is not going to be important to the, the feelings they've got that they have done something about it.
Nikhil, what do you think? Any questions for Mr. Vasan on that?
Akshita, I'll just update you about a couple of things that I'm getting to hear. There is, again, none of this is confirmed. I'm getting to hear from one of my sources who's there and is part of the organizing committee of the tournament that they have kind of been told that there is a possibility that there could be a delayed start to this game as well. That's what I'm hearing from him. However, this is not confirmed. I'm just, quoting somebody who's part of the organization committee there. So is it a complete pullout? We don't know. Secondly, I'm also hearing from people who are close to the PCB that there will be a press conference by Mohsin Naqvi shortly. And I think that's the time that we'll know 100% as to what they are doing. Either they are going to be playing this match under protest and it starts slightly delayed, or are they pulling out of the tournament completely? So two conflicting reports from two really highly placed sources I'm getting at the moment. I mean, the point is that we don't know 100% as to what the scene is at the moment. And as I speak, I'm also getting to know that the bus is still there waiting outside the Pakistan team hotel. It is packed with all the kickbacks of the Pakistan team that still hasn't been taken out. So even the team that way has not been informed 100% whether they are going to the ground or not. They've just been told, hold on, we'll inform you what our official stance is. That's the latest that I'm getting to hear, right?
So those are updates that Nikhil is giving us. Mr. Vasan, you were saying that this is essentially an attempt by Pakistan to save face, but this affects them the most, Mr. Vasan. My point being that, they boycott the Asia Cup. That's huge repercussions, even possible isolation for Pakistan.
I think at this point they don't really care because, that is the only way out for them to show that they are not happy. And by the code of conduct, they cannot enforce anything from the ICC because, you are well within your rights to do whatever you did. So they feel that ICC is not going to do much about it. The whole cricketing world is on one side, and they feel that if they just show their, their insult in a way that they can only do this. I'm not sure whether this is going to actually affect them in ACC. They don't care. But what is the implication going forward in the other tournaments, in other ICC tournaments?
Okay, Mr. Atul Vasan, thank you very much for joining us here on India Today with your view. The latest update we're getting, and what Nikhil was telling you, was there's an air of uncertainty essentially in Dubai on whether the match is happening or not. The UAE team has reached the stadium as was expected. They've reached on time because usually if a match is expected at 8 p.m., the team would usually be there 2 hours before. So the UAE team has reached the stadium. Here's what we're picking up, Nikhil, and I'd like your word on this. The Pakistani media is saying right now that an ultimate decision hasn't been taken, that Pakistan may still play that match with one condition, saying if referee Andy Pycroft issues an apology, then we'll go ahead and play their match. So they're trying, in a way, to kind of issue a threat that's not really going to go down well with the ICC.
Well, that's right. In fact, this Akshita is something that we had reported about an hour ago, that, the goalpost is changed for the PCB. As I mentioned earlier, till last night, PCB were just happy if you were to shuffle the match referees. As I mentioned, there are two match referees there. Richie Richardson, former West Indian player, Andy Pycroft, former Zimbabwean player. They had an issue with Andy Pycroft. Richie Richardson was to referee the game that was to take place in Abu Dhabi. I found out from my sources that Richie Richardson had reached Dubai this morning from Abu Dhabi. That means he was on standby and he would have officiated this game. And this is what PCB had asked for to begin with. But as I told you, the goalpost changed in the last 5-6 hours. How did the goalpost change? What is it that they were asking? They were asking now for an additional apology from Andy Pycroft, and that, I am made to believe, all happened due to political pressure from the Pakistani government to PCB. What I believe happened was that the Pakistani government said that, listen, if they just shuffle the match referee, that makes Pakistan, go in bad light at the moment. That is not what Pakistan bargained for. It looked like Pakistan was very weak and they settled for a shuffling of match referee. We needed something more. We need to be seen, rather, to be doing something more. And so if an apology comes, then that will allow us a sort of a leeway where we can then have a face-saving exercise and allow our team to go to the ground. This has happened in the last few hours. I think that's where the ICC put its foot down, saying this is not possible. At best, we can accommodate by shuffling the match referee. That hasn't happened. And that is why the Pakistani players who till now were ready, till about 3 hours ago, had been told you're playing the game 100%, have now been made to wait. We're just waiting for that press conference to take place. By the PCB from Mohsin Naqvi, but I'm speaking to multiple sources there, some from the organizing committee, some from the broadcasters. All of them have yet not been told that the game is called off. So they are ready at the moment, and because even the organizers tell me the bus is there for a reason, because there is a chance that the Pakistan team might take that bus and you could have a delayed start, maybe by half an hour or 1 hour from the scheduled time. That is still a possibility, but we're still waiting on that.
How bizarre is this? You're holding a game at ransom and essentially issuing threats saying we won't play. Let's be very clear. This is petty egos at play. That's what's happening right now. Pakistan saying, you give us what we want or we won't play this game. We're just going to wait in our hotel. And this is the information that we have, that the PCB presented two formal demands. They want Suryakumar Yadav to be penalized over political remarks. And then they're saying that Andy Pycroft must be removed from officiating in the Asia Cup. There was a compromise on that, with the ICC saying, look, we'll shift referees. But that's not good enough for Pakistan. They want action against Andy Pycroft. That and penalizing Suryakumar Yadav. Now, that didn't happen. And so the Pakistan national cricket team was reportedly even waiting in the hotel lobby with their luggage already loaded onto the team bus. And they have no idea what's going to happen. So the Pakistan cricket team is completely clueless on what the PCB is thinking. They're on pause. They're on standby. They're not sure if they're going to be able to play the game or no. And just imagine really what they'll be going through, whether they'll ever be in the mental state to actually play a game. After all this, is it happening? Is it not? Are we going to play? Are we not? There's still no clarity because the PCB actually hasn't taken a decision. They don't know if they want to boycott or not. They've presented these demands. They're saying, let's see what the ICC does. So what they're expecting is that in the next 30 minutes, the ICC will buckle, will bow down to them, and then they'll go ahead and play the game on their own terms. Unlikely that the ICC will give in to these demands, because so far on their demand of penalizing Suryakumar Yadav, that was dismissed immediately. Against Andy Pycroft also, very clearly the ICC said, we don't find him to be in violation of the norms. So there's no question really of any action. For the PCB to expect that suddenly things are going to change, that in the next 30 minutes there will be action, and then the Pakistan cricket team can make their way to the stadium delayed, this is absolutely bizarre. They're holding the entire game at ransom currently with their demands right now. And I'll bring in Nikhil Nas for more details on this. So Nikhil, two demands that were presented, both have, of course, been discussed in great detail. But what Pakistan is expecting here is that in the next 30 minutes, there will be some change of heart by the ICC, which to me seems highly, highly unlikely.
That's true. These are the two demands that we've been reporting, Akshita, since morning, that the Pakistan Cricket Board presented in front of the ICC. One was the removal of Andy Pycroft. In fact, that was a demand that was put in front of the ICC 2 days ago. Yesterday, ICC had rejected that demand. However, they did make a leeway there. They did allow the shuffling of match referee for this game versus UAE. That, of course, is something that, PCB was not really happy about, that they did not agree upon. They still stuck to their demand of Andy Pycroft be removed from the tournament and not just the shuffling of match referee with Richie Richardson. And the second demand, of course, is that some action be taken against Suryakumar Yadav, as is in the rule book of the ICC, for making a political statement. For those who have not been following this development, I'll just point out what are the two issues that they are pointing out to. One, in the post-match press conference, he dedicated it to the victims of Pahalgam terror attack. That does not, come into any political realm. But later on, when the captain went on to dedicate it to the Indian Army, that they are contending is a political reference. And then when he came for the official post-match press conference in front of the entire media, he actually said that we dedicate it to the armed forces for the successful completion of Operation Sindoor. And what Pakistan is quoting past precedent where players have been fined for any sort of political reference during an official press conference or during an official play as soon as you enter the ground. There has been past precedent. At best, just for our viewers to know, in case ICC was to take an action, what they are saying, it's Andy Pycroft, the match referee, who has to initiate this action because that's his primary job. As soon as he sees something that's been done out of the rule, he must be initiating that action, and they're fine whatever that action might be. At best, it might just be a 20 to 30% match fee fine for the Indian captain for, making a political reference. They're fine with it so long as some action is taken according to the rules.
So far, the ICC said there's no action, which is what's got PCB miffed. But why have they decided to suddenly act now? Why have they said that, look, we're not going to play the match, and decided that just in the last moment? Perhaps it's political pressure, perhaps it's pressure from their own people. Either way, right now what they're doing is clearly ego at play and nothing else. We're going to track the latest updates that come in on this. Thanks for the moment, Nikhil. We are continuing to get you all the updates that come in. Will Pakistan play in the Asia Cup or not? Right now, they're busy throwing a tantrum. Looks unlikely at this point. The team bus still waiting, with the Pakistan cricket team themselves unsure. Are they going to be playing a match or 1 hour from now or not?